Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Well, it is 6 p.m. and you're watching Mississippi Live Weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon on what just has been a gorgeous, or if you don't want to editorialize the weather, a cool midweek day as we have had temperatures that this morning were at record-breaking levels, mid-50s out there, something we obviously don't see very often this time of the year. We welcome you in here to the Room to Room Weather Center, and this evening, as we look ahead over the next 12 hours, we're not going to get quite as cool. As you can see here, the first 12, 76 at 7 p.m. temperature, again, still very manageable, cool as well, 67 by 10. Limited rain chances start creeping in. That's going to be one of our biggest headlines over the next couple of days. We're going to have some rain chances there. And you could argue for some locations tomorrow is kind of a washout with pretty consistent rainfall around. We'll look at that with that next 24 in a minute. But rain chances by tomorrow morning, they definitely start picking up, making it a soggier morning commute. You're going to want to check out our meteorologist, Maggie McCauley, starting at 6:30 tomorrow morning with live updates right here on the Mississippi Live Weather Channel. She'll have, of course, extended tracking of where those showers are in and through the area. Low 60s to begin the day, slightly more mild than we were to begin today. Out right now in Batesville, 81 degrees current temperature at this time. Of course, rain chances are going to start back in the northwest part of the state. We'll probably have some sprinkles Batesville before midnight, likely going to have some there. Not really going to accumulate them much, and we'll look at how this kind of plays out as we accumulate more rainfall next couple days. 81 degrees again in Batesville, feels like 81 with that dew point, that measure of moisture at 50. It's good. That's one of those good signs here we have to watch, because Cleveland 57, that measure of moisture, so slightly more moisture there, but you're also closer to the warmer air that's trying to return. Warm air overrunning a front, combination of that with northwest flow. A lot of different terms to say rainfall chances get better next couple of days, but I point out that measure of moisture there at 59, looks like it's updated just in the last couple of seconds here. That moisture level's coming up somewhat, but I think initially the clouds going to have that rain fall into dry enough air that a lot of it evaporates before it gets down to the surface. We'll look at some of those rainfall totals, what we're expecting here in a minute. And the Crossroads Museum up there in Corinth, of course, looking at the historic Crossroads, just a few clouds and 81 degrees. The temperature right now feels like 79 at this instant. Corinth, one of those spots that this morning was about as cool as you got. We're 50, so no 40s at any official reporting stations, but I would bet some of you out there with some local thermometers probably hit the upper 40s this morning. Maybe not a lot of folks. And you can see big contrast there versus Belzoni at 64, 62 in Greenville. That is the effect of that cooler temperatures, obviously, we've had this morning, but also that front that'll bring the warmer temperatures in from the south and west. So since midnight, regionally, I mean, yeah, big difference there from the near 40s up near the Tennessee state line to the 70s down south. And that warmer air is going to continue returning. You can kind of see that even on the regional temperature perspective with near 90-degree temperatures in Jackson. It's 88 right now in Hattiesburg there, and 88 Monroe, Louisiana versus 87 Greenville, and the low 80s we have in the northern part of the state. And that is a big increase from yesterday. Of course, we did have some of those patches that were a lot cooler yesterday, 15 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago right now in the Greenville area. So looking at Mississippi Live Weather Radar at this instant, we do show some showers up here closer to Springfield, Missouri, Wichita, Kansas. Those are kind of some of what we are watching, but if I widen this out just a little bit more here, maybe not obviously showing up here, but we do kind of have a front, and you will see this more when we look at Futurecast here in just a minute, kind of a front extending off of this low pressure center, what we call a warm front, and that will start lifting in with warmer temperatures, a little bit warmer. It's not going to be a huge warm up initially, but more than anything, we also get moisture that returns over that because, and I'm going to change over what we're looking at here to our infrared satellite perspective, and I'm going to kind of clear things off for a moment so we can maybe show this in a little more detail. But these high pressure centers, these big blue H's, they just carve out a huge area of nothing. As you can see how it's cleared things out back to the East Coast. But I think we're in a position with this where, again, it's going to start to get a little bit more humid air out of the Gulf of Mexico, and that will help us to see not just the increase in temperatures, but also eventually some better rain chances ahead. We do have Fernand out there, by the way, while we're on this, way out there into the Atlantic, moving away. We'll have a look at the tropics and update on how things are looking deeper into tropical season because we're approaching the peak. Coming up here just a little bit later on, our meteorologist Gabe Maynor looking at that. So I kind of alluded to this on the wider shot there. There's that front, the more humid air mainly south of that. So we still have a little bit of that to kind of running ahead. But as you'll note here, the majority of rainfall back up toward Kansas, out toward Missouri, Arkansas, and then just lighter variety stuff here. That increases in kind of coverage, a little heavier. This is not going to be severe thunderstorms, but we will have some showers with this kind of increasing as they move in from the north and west as we progress into your Thursday. You can see 9 o'clock in the morning. There are some spots back to the west with more reds figuring in. That's part of the reason why to the west of us is where the greatest potential maybe for some flooding rainfall out of this system ends up kind of aligning. But for us, we're still kind of ahead of that there. As we look at the next 24, the rain chances just kind of spotty still at 6 a.m. But notice, by 9 a.m., we're at 50% on that rain coverage there. We're 60% by around noontime and staying around 60% coverage into the afternoon, maybe even into the evening there. Upper 70s for highs, which in some cases is actually cooler than high temperatures were for today. And the reason for that is the fact that we have so much rainfall around, it just neutralizes how much temperatures increase. So again, we're a little more mild in the morning, but a little bit cooler in the afternoon because of that. And in 60 seconds, we will be looking at where the rainfall is expected to be the heaviest, some of the rainfall amounts, in particular, kind of breaking down this initial wave that goes with this, and then the greater chances going forward. That's with your complete forecast coming up here live from the Room to Room Weather Center as Mississippi Live Weather at 6 continues right after this.
You need some help?
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire. I could show you how to secure them properly if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
For more than 100 years, First Choice Bank has provided dedicated community banking to North Mississippi. The banking products and services you need when you need them. At First Choice, you're our priority. Make First Choice your choice for banking.
1 in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobheim.
Sometimes when you're the boss, you want to cheat out of work a little early. Gabe didn't react to that.
Are you trying to go?
No. I'm just saying that sometimes you want to cheat out a little early. And looking at this sky cam, it was one of those days I wish I would have. But instead, I put on the suit, forgot the jacket. No bad weather. I just forgot the jacket here today. But outside of our camera here in Tupelo, as we're looking in the Room Weather Center, just some high and thin clouds, a northerly breeze, but that dew point at 48. That's some nice, dry, very pleasant air for this time of year. I mean, it's not just Tupelo, it's all locations with that at this time, but just kind of a nice shot. And I'm hoping to get a good sunset off of some of those high cirrus clouds. Send in those pictures. Mississippi Live Weather app, you have got a place you can submit those. We appreciate all of you who do that on these kind of days. And again, it looks like somebody got the trailer out ready to do some work. I mean, 82, you talk about a perfect opportunity to do a little mowing, clean up the lawn. By the way, Gabe, that's the real reason I'm not out of here, because I got to mow the lawn. And if I'm in a suit, sorry, it's just not, I'm just kick it down the road another day.
Chances beyond today,
We've Got some, I know. Eventually we'll get that done. By the way, our school bus forecast, appreciate the good folks at IMPC for sponsoring this here. Pickup, we're at 62, more mild than we were today. In some cases, 8 degrees or more warmer than today. But obviously, the jacket factor for tomorrow might be a rain jacket, depending on how long they're out there at the school bus stop there. Even at drop-off, though, we're going to have some rain chances. I think in the afternoon, more widespread out there. So in either case, I know 79 might not seem like jacket territory, and I know they keep those kids sheltered pretty well, but we do expect that we'll probably have more rainfall than this on Mississippi Live Weather Radar when the time comes. We are clear on our closest scans. Got to go up here to our scan out of the Memphis radar site there to show some of those showers. Again, we're looking fairly high up. It's not like there's just this one little clip of moisture out there. It's just the scanning at that one level. I point out that distinction because that tells us it's stratiform precipitation. There's kind of like one level mainly where the rainfall is, and we're shooting through it when we get farther away. So the clouds are going to move in. We're going to see, especially if you're looking at the interactive radar from time to time on the app, some green on there that isn't actually green getting to the ground. Our air is fairly dry down here, and it'll take some time to bring in a little bit more moisture here. So here are some of the showers back out there for West Plains, back toward Conway and Hot Springs. As we slide this back into the area, you'll see those showers gradually starting to work their way in by around 10 p.m. or so. And as we slide in here, most of this is not going to end up making it to the ground initially here as we're just kind of saturating the atmosphere. So this is that time overnight. If you just happen to wake up in the middle of the night, for whatever reason, choose to open up the app, you'll probably see some green that's not getting to the ground at that point. That is that factor saturating. But as we get more meaningful moisture to arrive, it's going to start causing maybe a few issues. You can see fairly widespread, mainly sprinkles to maybe moderate rainfall at most, showing up by 6 a.m. Clarksdale, you're in that moderate zone out here closer to Helena, West Helena, and back out toward Tunica, Olive Branch, perhaps even Senatobia. I mentioned Senatobia. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley tomorrow morning at 6:30 in the morning. At the time this is happening, she'll be using Mississippi Live Weather Radar to live track some of those showers. Live morning show started this morning. A lot of you watched, a lot of you tuned in. If you didn't, you can catch her at 6:30, 7, and 7:30 every morning, Monday through Friday. We'll have live updates, live alerts as to where that rainfall is. As you can see, mainly 60s out there again for tomorrow morning. Greenville comes in at 70, a sign that some warmer air charging in from the south and west, starting to saturate the atmosphere. Now, initially, your rainfall totals are pretty under-impressive. Again, as we mentioned, that rainfall, not a lot overnight. And this is really between now and maybe mid-morning tomorrow. A couple of streaks there where maybe we have a half-inch of rainfall. You can see still fairly isolated, at least initially. But as we go into the morning, as you can see, more of those kind of oranges showing up, and that means for more moderate rainfall as well. So we're stopping things here at 7:30. Notice the difference between 6 and 7:30 is a much greater quantity in rainfall. So you'll probably want to build in a few extra moments to check out Maggie and those updates. And of course, we'll have Mississippi Live Weather Channel running 24/7 there to get you the latest on Mississippi Live Weather Radar as well. As we go toward 11 o'clock or so in the morning, a few more of the bits of red starting to roll in. This red that you see there, Gabe, let's go a little wider on this just for a second to show that. That is our front, a warm front. And as we kind of alluded to a minute ago, warmer air, look at those arrows, kind of running over top of this front. That overrunning effect produces these showers and occasional rumbles that go along with it. And so we show some of those out there. Clarksdale, Grenada there, back toward around locations in Carroll County, kind of spreading back toward the east. We're 1:30, we're 2 o'clock, and as we zoom things in there, again, probably our peak coverage for more moderate rainfall starts to hit as we go into the mid-afternoon for tomorrow. Again, if we do get a few of these kind of go over the same spots, we could be talking about rainfall totals in excess of 1.5 to 2 inches in some locations. We'll look at accumulations here in a minute, maybe higher than that a few spots, hopefully. I know we needed it at Casa de Labando. So we're 88 for the high temperature there in for the Greenville area and Belzona, but only 79 we're showing you in Grenada, 76 degrees Water Valley, 74 there in Oxford. Listen, could it be warmer than this? Absolutely. But the thinking is these are the spots where we're most likely to see that rainfall be the heaviest, and so that limits the temperatures. But if we see anything that resembles sunshine, that's going to pop them up a little bit more. I think in the morning we'll at least have that for a few brief moments out there, at least a filtered sunshine. Heat indices, non-factor. And nobody complaining about that. So here's the rainfall on our strike model. Now you'll notice, again, this is always a slightly different projection on how this works. Gabe will go wider here again for a second to kind of take in a few other things, but you can see fairly widespread rainfall showing up here as we go into your Thursday, into the early evening. Still quite a few of those showers around 10 p.m., 11 p.m. or so. Now this particular projection, see how it sort of clears it? And then we redevelop some showers. As this low pressure center approaches and moisture kind of running over top of this, we get the combination of moisture coming over top of this front and then the jet stream aloft trying to pull the showers in our direction. And so if for whatever reason you just happen to have the right lift in the right spot, you might get that one strip where we're talking about maybe 3 or 4 inches of rainfall in some locations. So a very limited, but not for everybody, but a possible flash flooding threat does exist with this into the first part of early Friday morning there. Now notice the rainfall largely shifting farther south as we head toward 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. into your Friday. The majority of it down here toward Natchez, Macomb, Hattiesburg, and down south of Laurel as we head into the afternoon on Friday. Again, moisture trying to shoot over top of this front, but the challenge at that point is that the front's also sliding farther south. So again, that tells us that we're not talking about an extreme warm-up by any stretch. But notice, I know we have some of our Mississippi Live Weather Game of the Week, of course, there in the Pontotoc area. And for some of the other high school football games, a couple of sprinkles, a couple of showers still possible. We're going to be watching Futurecast very closely the next couple of days to see if we have to add in any rain chances. The majority, though, obviously going to be a south. So Friday high temperatures. And again, this might be a little bit cool depending on exactly where we hone in on those showers sliding south. So this is kind of best case scenario as far as temperatures go. Some mid 70s, not impossible out there. Water Valley, Grenada, 80 will show Tupelo, 79 for Boonville and Amory. Here's hoping. But again, if we dry out any more, that's going to bolster these temperatures upward just a little bit higher. And heat indices, I mean, come on, for the first official game of Friday night football, you can't beat this, right? It's that wet bulb globe temperature, not a factor because the actual temperature isn't even at those values. We'd have to consider it. So as we look at the forecast, clearly Thursday night, early Friday, that's when our rain chances are the greatest. By Friday, that 30%, really first part of the day when we have the greatest chance there, diminishing and late in the day. But we do have some limited rain chances continuing this upcoming week. And comparatively speaking, they're less impressive. And forecast rainfall. Again, tomorrow, you can see on this 2 inches we show in this kind of zone here, south of Carroll County toward Atala County there, Montgomery County. But one thing I want to note on this is kind of a wider grid space. What does that mean? Well, so this is not going to catch your highest resolution spots. This is more of a general outline for a lot of folks. When we show you models, we get those hyper concentrated higher totals that don't show up on this. So I say that to mention fairly widespread amounts, an inch and a half to 2 inches, a possibility out there. I mean, we're obviously in that yellow area, but we could have some locations up in excess of 3 or more inches if we get training. And in this setup with overrunning south of that front and with the jet stream from the northwest flow, that does sometimes happen. So we are going to watch that flooding rainfall potential out of this. That's why we have that flush flooding potential. Again, wherever that ends up lining up, something we're still refining. And of course, Maggie will have a better idea on that starting at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning on Mississippi Live Weather this morning. As we go into your Friday, rainfall amounts more limited. So that's one of the things we think for the Friday night football games will be helping us out, things hopefully in better shape. Best rainfall chances to our south. Flash flooding threat, again, mainly south of us. The only reason there's even anything on there on Friday is sometimes these fronts, especially considering it's still summer, right, can run a little bit warmer. Warmer air should have a little more to work with this time of year. So if it runs any more farther north, with the rainfall on Thursday, that enhances the flash flood threat just a little bit for Friday. Rainfall chances, rainfall likelihood on Saturday. Again, there's chances there, but it's not terribly impressive. Hey, our high school football game of the week is going to be Friday night, and we have that limited chance for a couple little pop-up showers there. Maybe 30% might be just a little bit high on that. But we're going aggressive on this just in case, because wouldn't it figure if we managed to have such a cool start to the year that there could be a couple of showers out there? Do we expect a lot of delays to those games? No. Could there be some? Not an impossibility. So something we're watching. And of course, our game of the week location is going to be out at Pontotoc and Amory. We're looking forward to visiting and seeing you all out there. So of course, we'd love to come and talk with y'all, and we're looking forward to that forecast. For your Thursday, 62 in the morning, we're 78 degrees by noon, 79 the high, and again, rainfall limiting those temperatures, 75 by 5 p.m. and 65 as we look toward around 10. Rain coverage, 60% certainly afternoon, the evening, greatest likelihood there. We're 80 by your Friday, and again, if we see any sunshine at all, that's going to bolster temperatures just a little bit more. Upper 70s, low 80s out there. We're mid 80s though by Saturday, more limited again rain chances for Saturday and into Sunday and into Monday next week. And as soon as you start removing the fact that we have fairly widespread rain chances, those temperatures start increasing. But note this. 86 for Sunday, 86 for Monday, but these lows in the mid 60s. When we talk about the real stickiness, it's just that thing we want to not deal with this time of year. Typically, we would see these in the 70s. That is not the case. So the real true summertime stickiness, as of course we go into this holiday weekend or go toward the holiday weekend, yeah, I mean, things are in pretty good shape as far as that is concerned there. Now, coming up here in a couple of minutes, our meteorologist Gabe Maynard will be looking what a lot of times causes some issues, but won't for us this year. That's going to be the tropics. We're looking at how things are shaping up in the tropics now as, of course, we approach the peak of hurricane season the first part of September here. We're looking at more details. Mississippi Live Weather at 6 continues from the Room to Room Weather Center right after this.
At Room to Room, did you know our specialty is custom ordered upholstery? Get the furniture you want and the fabric and color selection you want. With our free design service, we won't let you make a mistake.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.
Well, welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. We're getting a live look there at Fernand out there in the Atlantic. Now, it's at a tropical storm strength. The winds are diminishing. We're at about 50 miles an hour on this storm. But what you're seeing, and the reason why it's diminishing, is some of that dry air entrainment. If you look at this legend at the top of your screen, that drier air indicated by those reds and oranges, and of course the more moist air going to be more of those greens. So of course, moisture at the heart of the storm, but as that drier air starts to get into the middle of the storm, weakens it just a bit, breaks it up, and then of course diminishes it in regards to its strength. So still at tropical storm strength, but as we track that out into the Atlantic, you can see about 50 miles an hour and the latest advisory, that 4 p.m. advisory showing 50. That pressure level or pressure center is about 1,006 millibars. Not comparable to what we had earlier with Aaron. So fortunately, it has diminished to what is now a weaker storm, and that will continue to transition up the Atlantic coast and into the northern Atlantic. Far away from us here in North Mississippi, but far away from any of those coastal regions. Haven't seen that many impacts with Fernand, and so hopefully this is a sign of the entire tropical season because we've been quiet so far. But Matt, I know that we don't need tropical moisture to have showers here in North Mississippi. We have our own development. That's going to be one of those mid-latitude lows that develops, goes right over the top of us, circulates across the jet stream, and then of course produces some of those more significant showers come Thursday. I mean, we're talking about washout potential. We're also talking about flooding potential. Just, you know, what do folks need to do ahead of time to kind of get ready for that forecast?
I mean, we would like to say that we feel confident that, you know, you're going to get this on a widespread scale. And we do think this is kind of like a widespread rainfall chance. You know, the main thing anytime we talk about any kind of, you know, flooding potential is just use intelligence. You know, if it's water over a roadway, don't drive over it because it's possible that something's washed out below that. And that's the main thing, because the two biggest weather-related killers are going to be what? Flooding and heat. Why? Because we don't respect them, right? We see that, you know, finger of wind death coming from the sky. We're like, oh, it's a tornado, we need to go hide, right? But when it's flooding, it's like, it's just some water. I've seen this river come up before, and then it just ends up being that time, you know, where it's more significant than that. But Gabe, it's just, you know, whether it's that, whether it's heat, it's just, you know, we have to use our head, be smart, and of course have that Mississippi Live Weather app. It'll keep you ahead of any of the issues we have there. You always talk about the app, you know, we also, of course, at Mississippi Live Weather, or MS Live, let me try it in here again, SLiveWeather.com. You know, we do have an interactive radar on there as well if you just happen to be in front of your computer. Did you realize that, Gabe? Maybe. Maybe not. You know, it is one of those things that, here, I might as well just bring it back over here to show it for a second. You know, on the website there, of course, we have the live forecast, which apparently has me doing one of these,
Strike
which
a
I've done.
pose.
Yeah, strike a pose, right?
But wait,
you know,
explain the suspenders. Someone was asking in the comments saying that things were getting dicey.
they're not dicey. I just left my jacket at home, ran out the door. And sometimes that happens, yeah. So everything is good. There's no issues there as far as that is concerned. But we do, of course, have an interactive radar on msliveweather.com where you can go and look all around the country and kind of track these showers yourself. So kind of cool thing. If you just don't happen to have your device handy or you're in front of your computer as well, we have that. Of course, you can also just click on the live stream there. We'll get that picture inside a picture thing as we're talking about that. So yeah, Gabe, so a lot of good ways, of course, you can stay up to date as we kind of get to a more active pattern over the course of the next couple of months here as things pick up. And that starts with some rainfall tomorrow. So Maggie will have updates starting at 4:30 a.m. I know a lot of folks will hopefully be tuning in again for that there.
6:30.
What did I say?
4:30.
Oh, man, you are correct.
You early riser, you.
Oh, nope, it is 6:30 a.m. And that, by the way, that's see, I got myself off camera here. That's an intentional choice because we know more people are up a little earlier. I'm going to bring myself back in because I can. But the reason we do that is after this broadcast, there you go, after this broadcast finishes up, we go to the Mississippi Live Weather channel and you have, live weather information there all the time. So we know that 4:30 in the morning, that can handle it. The updates as well on there. Then we pick up the live stuff at 6:30 when we know a lot of people are kind of waking up. So it's just kind of structuring that intentionally because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not waking up at 4:30.
You're not?
That's just me.
I'm not either. That's okay. Not unless I have to. Now, during severe weather, yes.
Oh, of course. I mean, we're always watching this behind the scenes, but if we have those clear sunny days or, that stratiform rainfall, we're not expecting any severe weather, so that's a fortunate thing. A lot of us can sleep soundly, but whenever it comes to those flooding threats, as Matt was mentioning, just use your head. And if the turnaround, don't drown phrase, I know we chuckle at it, but that's actually truth, and it keeps us safe in those instances. And moving the vehicles ahead of time, if you're in those flood-prone areas, also helps. And you can, of course, track that precipitation with the Mississippi Live Weather app of, if you've already had a lot of rainfall and there's more heavy showers coming your way, well then, hey, that's probably the time we need to move the vehicles just to be on the safe side. But that forecast tonight stays on the drier side. Some of those limited precipitation chances move in later on tonight and into the overnight hours, but the big stuff, the main stuff, happening towards tomorrow morning. And so Maggie going to be up right on time for those showers as they really start to move into the area. And you can, of course, download the Mississippi Live Weather app to get the very latest information on that and watch her on the 24/7 live stream. We'll be back here tonight to walk through that forecast as well. Latest model runs come out, but we expect more of the same with some of that stratiform precipitation moving in. And of course, letting you know that Friday night game of the week forecast as well here for Mississippi Live Weather. So there's a look at your shows. 10 p.m. is our next broadcast, but 6:30, 7 and 7:30. Make sure to check it out before your morning commute so you know what to expect as you head into your Thursday. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.
Absolute Restoration, our team will feel magical since our focus is on serving you and your roofing needs. Finding a roofer who actually shows up and communicates, that's just one of the problems we solve by informing you of every step in the process.
Selling premium roofing systems backed by warranties and payment plans starting at just $99 per month. Trust Absolute Restoration to deliver.
Experience unicorn-level service and affordability from a team your community trusts. Call Absolute Restoration today.